Okay, before we start coding, let's quickly overview a few different implementation options. So we want to build the API to populate this form, to populate these drop-down lists, makes and models. So when a user selects a make from this drop-down list, the models drop-down list should be repopulated. Now, there are two ways to implement this. One solution is to build an API endpoint like this, so we call /API/makes, to get the list of all makes in our application. Each make object has two properties, ID and name. Now, when the user selects an item from the makes dropdown list, we'll make another call to the server to get the models for the selected make. There is also another solution. So instead of having two separate endpoints and making two separate calls, we can have one endpoint that returns all the makes and their models in one JSON object. So note that here our make objects have three properties, ID, name, and models, which is an array of model objects. Now, which solution is better? It depends. There is no one size fits all. In this particular case, because we are dealing with a small dataset, I would rather to have one endpoint and reduce extra calls to the server. Because think of the total number of makes and models for all the vehicles out there. We don't have 5,000 models. We don't have 5,000 makes. There are only about 20 to 30 makes, and each make might have 10 to 20 models. So we are working with a small data set, and it makes more sense to load all this data on the client, so when the user selects a make, we don't have to do a round trip to the server. On the other hand, if we were working with a large data set, like several thousand objects, it would be better to have separate endpoints for makes and models. Alright, next I'm going to start by building our domain model.